of what you want to hear. EEI Late Night with KJ on EEI.
Josh Allen's grown a lot over the last 4 years.
His improvement has just been tremendous from where it was 3 years ago. Completion percentage, passer rating, decision making, production. It's just gone. It's risen at a really remarkable rate. It's just remarkable how good he has become. But he's really made tremendous improvement. And, has a lot of command of the offense. They audible a lot. They change things. They obviously have a lot of confidence in him. He handles them well on the line. Where they run into a bad look or a blitz or something like that, he doesn't get fooled much by anything. It's really impressive to watch how he's developed there.
Late night, WEEI. It's KJ. Thank you so much for hanging out. 617-779-7937 or the text line 37937. That's Bill Belichick being super nice about Josh Allen's passer rating. Passer rating? 25-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd be worried about. Josh Allen's going to be a shook young puppy come Monday. Biggest game of his career to date. I think even bigger than going on the road against the Chiefs last year. Because I think going against the Chiefs last year, I think they were just happy to be in a game this late, that late in January. We will do it again next year. Then, you see that the Patriots have a rookie quarterback. You're thinking, okay, maybe the Patriots will be the ones that come to us next year for the playoffs. And we'll be like, oh, well, good luck, kids. We're going to try and win it all this year. No. Still to come, 10:45. Like to lay your money down on some games. 5-leg parlay that pays over $10 million. One game. Absolutely crazy. Monday's game is going to be, what's funny about the NFL, and from having a relative that played in the NFL to working along people who've played extensively in the NFL, one thing they'll tell you about, and especially the Monday night game, is it's the game that everybody's home to watch. Even a Sunday night game, you might just be finishing up, you're getting untaped, you might be in an ice box or what have you. Yeah, most people get to see that game, but nobody else has a game on Monday. Everybody sees it. And the Bills are going to be like that roach when the light comes on. It's going to get exposed. It's going to scurry. And then the pundits are going to go and go and go as the Patriots begin their week off of preparation for Indy after that. Now, I'm not speaking too far ahead of the game. I like to manage expectations. But from what I see in this Bills team right now, that averages its top runner 45 yards a game. That's what Devin Singletary averages, 45 yards a game. Josh Allen, like 38. So one of two things are going to happen for them. Either Devin Singletary is, and they got Matt Breida and everything like that, but at the same time, look, bro, you're new to this street fight. And if that's supposed to be a secret weapon, spend a little more of your Madden coins there, buddy. There's suddenly no surprises. Like literally, this Bills team is actually built for an indoor space, right? That this is a team that if you have them indoors, their games are indoors, then they can always do what they want to do in terms of the passing game. But, of course, if you're in Buffalo and if you're trying to say, hey, we want an indoor stadium, you're like, duh, you got to use the weather to your advantage, but yet your own team does not use that to its advantage. Since week 5, the Patriots have averaged 126 yards a game. A game. That's the average. So you step into their place with the running game, they'll give up the yards, baby. Derrick Henry, I think it was like 105, but that's when your whole game is geared to stopping Derrick Henry. And then Jonathan Taylor, 2 weeks ago, 246. Well, the total rushing yards they get was 246. Now, if there's a person who's listening and Western New York, who's like, what are they saying on EEI at this time of night? Maybe it's something crazy. I'll give you one thing to put under your pillow like the tooth fairy. Is there was a concern at the beginning of the year of Ramondre Stevenson and his fumble issues. And with the weather situation the way it is, I would be beating on him like Apollo Creed did Rocky in Rocky 3. Bro, we're spurring rounds, we're hitting that ball because this is their only hope they have is to match turnovers, right? Their mental mistakes are most likely going to come from their leadership on offense. And if there are any mistakes from the Patriots, it's not going to come from the quarterback position. It could be the ball being on the ground. And this would be the most inopportune time. So you Buffalo band fan, well, yeah, whatever it is, Bills Mafia fan in Western New York, put that little tooth under your pillow, tooth fairy. Pray that they leave you a change and maybe a fumble or two, but I don't see it happening. And look who the Bills have beat when it's talked about in terms of their running game. So even though their defense is just out of the world, overall, Miami, Washington, Houston, Kansas City without Edwards-Helaire, the Jets, the Saints without Alvin Kamara. Their losses, Titans with Derrick Henry, and as I mentioned, Jonathan Taylor 2 weeks ago. Patriots averaging 138 yards a game since week 5. But what Mac Jones is doing and what he has shown is that the game doesn't overwhelm him. And maybe this is what he learned at Alabama because, let's face it, he probably played 3 games that were really stressful, maybe. Sometimes when you have a guy who played 1 year at a prestigious school, you're like, okay, how good are they really? But the other side of that is, if you haven't played that much, but yet you have a skill set, you can be fluid like water, and you're more likely to retain information than to pretend to say, well, I know what I can do better. So Mac Jones fits perfect. Here's Mike Greenberg on Get Up saying this situation with the Patriots reminds him a lot of an earlier time with the Patriots.
They're doing what they did in the early days of Tom Brady. They're doing exactly what it takes to win with the players that they have. And that is a coach's job. And no one is doing it anywhere near as well as Bill Belichick is doing it. And the Patriots are the team to beat.
The Patriots are the team to beat. At 8-4, I still think back when the team was 4-4. And I will be the first one to tell you. I mean, married guys know this. Admit when you're wrong. But at least admit that you were wrong in hopes that things would turn around. You don't get on your kids for their behavior, for them to continue the bad behavior. You want them to do better. Now, I'm not saying the Patriots are my kids, but I know for some people it feels that way. And at 4-4, going into the season, I thought that's where Cam gets yanked, and this is where Matt comes in. The element of surprise, the team goes on a run. Where I was wrong was at 4-4, Mac was there the whole time. Cam gets a job somewhere else. But the team still goes on a run after 8 games. That was my point. Is after they figured out who was what and what was needed. What needed to be eliminated, what needed to be added. And I don't mean in terms of players, in terms of how the game is approached. I'll give you an example. You don't see the starting a second half right after a major turnover out of shotgun like you did with the Saints game as what you see now with Mac Jones. There's just such a trust level that's there that you almost have to say, wow, Josh, there's too many Joshes around here. Right? Josh McDaniels is got to get some kudos in developing this young guy. And Rodney Harrison recognizes that.
Yeah, you look at Josh McDaniels, and we can't overlook Josh McDaniels and a terrific job that he's been, because he's in Mac Jones' ear every second. He's talking to him during practice, the meetings, all those different things. I thought he's done an impressive job of getting him, allowing him to just play football, spreading the ball around, getting it to different playmakers. And the offensive line has gotten better. They continue to run the football. They pound people. They use play-action pass. And every now and then you see Josh McDaniels rip out a couple trick plays every single game. It's terrific. And as much as I love Coach Belichick, Josh McDaniels has been doing a great job with this young quarterback.
Yeah, Mac Jones, just being fluid like water. Take the information and be a sponge. When you see these other quarterbacks that went ahead of him, I'll kind of give Trevor Lawrence a pass because that's just a ish storm down there in Jacksonville that they don't know what they'll figure out. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in the NFL, how some of these coaches are probably coaching for their last NFL meal, at least for this time. And there's probably about 5 coaches on the line just this week. But you look at Justin Fields and you could say, okay, this guy doesn't get it yet. And I said that about him when his Beyond the Lights stuff came out and so forth, and that he might be one of those type of people that if you try to tell him what a successful quarterback in the NFL looks like, he'll say, well, you haven't seen me in the mirror. Like, no, bro. You got to learn how this game works and then fit in. Zach Wilson, they're like, yeah, you're hurt. I'm fine. No, you're still hurt. No, I'm fine. No, you're still hurt. They're yes, they put him back in, but that's probably because, like, what other choice do they have? It's like Flacco gets COVID. It's like, geez, thanks, bro. Saved us from keeping him off the sidelines for the rest of the year. Meanwhile, here's Mac Jones that will get votes for Player of the Year by not doing too much, just being fluid like water. And that's so important. All right, 617-779-7937. The text line is 37937. It's KJ Late Night here on WEEI. Still to come at 11. Oh, boy. The Red Sox are really pulling out the black card, aren't they? Yeah, right. But I'll tell you what the thinking might be behind it, of course, with the lockout that's going on right now. Baseball's in a weird place, and how it's going to look a little weirder. That's coming up at 11. And, of course, Squid Games at 10:45. $10 million parlay. More than $10 million. More than. Only 5. Most times, Justin, people say, man, I got a parlay for you, man. I can win you $1 million. How many legs does it have? 36 legs. Like, what? Why would 36 things have to happen? Like, there's not even 36 letters in the alphabet. Like, why would I? No, 5. 5 leg over $10 million. It's just that tempting. You might make that roll. Antonio Brown suspended 3 games for the NFL after a house worker in his home kind of dropped dime saying, oh, yeah, you know what? That COVID card he handed in, forged. 3 games, Dan Orlovsky thinks is not enough.
I don't think 3 games is enough. You lied to everybody. You lied to your team. You lied to the league. You put everybody else in jeopardy on your football team. 3 games is not enough for this. So this is stupid. It's selfish. It's ignorant.
It's ridiculous.
It's disrespectful. Yeah, I don't think 3 games is enough.
Liar! Tell us what you know, you damn liar!
Yeah, if Orlovsky had that much passion, he would have won 1 game playing for the Lions. I'm kidding. So AB is criminally wrong. Let's just get that out of the way. He is criminally wrong because if that is something he did outside of the facilities, that's like a 1 year. I think there was a guy in Hawaii who's getting a 1-year sentence because he didn't want to do the quarantine, so he forged his COVID card. So that's a 1-year jail sentence in real life. So I can understand the arguments of more than 3 games, but it's what has been discussed it's what's been agreed upon in this NFLPA deal. It's about a 77-page long document. So it's almost kind of like, ever hear when people talk about court cases, it's not whether someone's guilty, it's what you can prove, and that's where AB falls under. Here's Emmanuel Ocho still going off about this AB situation.
Just dumb by Antonio Brown. Just there's no excuse for it. It's selfish, it's stupid, and it's arrogant. It's stupid because, once again, 748,000 deaths in the United States due to COVID, 5 million worldwide.
You can stop it. Yeah. That's probably AB's thinking when you start going down that path there. Now, one of the greatest things ever taught to me in my psychology class, thank you so much, Dr. Hall. A&T is a great university. Said, Ken, it's not important whether you agree or disagree. It's do you understand? And here's what I understand. There's some people, whether they play football or whether they teach or whether they're in the social sciences field, that are saying this is just something I am not going to do. Now, would they go the AB route? Some have tried to. Most have not, right? We haven't seen this whole widespread thing. It's not been on everyday newscasts like another forged COVID card. So arrogant, absolutely, because AB knows that inside of the structure of the NFLPA and the NFL, that they're not going to send him to jail. They're just going to send him home. But if AB had done this in real life, they're going to send him to jail, not to home. And then I've heard some people argue, well, what about what Aaron Rodgers did? Now, again, take what Aaron Rodgers did and put it out into the general public context. It's not illegal. I mean, your emotions may say, like, hey, what about ism? That's a very big ism right now. What out? Look, if you ask me, thank you for asking. The NFL is probably going to hit Aaron Rodgers with about $100,000 fine for every time that he violated the press conferences without being masked and being under vaccinated. Let's just call it what it is. Under vaccinated. It's like he took something. He just didn't take what everybody's expecting him to take. He said he took something. So Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't done anything illegal in the public space, but detrimental inside of the NFLPA space, they can always go back and fine him like 8 times $14,000 for each infraction. I think it was for all 8 weeks that he was in these press conferences unmasked. So one say, well, what is $100,000 to Aaron Rodgers? You don't know. It's still $100,000. I don't care who it is. It's still $100,000. And so for that, know the difference that AB, what he did, is illegal in society. And what Aaron Rodgers did was just full dumbass inside of the NFLPA situation. Liar. All right, I got to get to these Squid Games here. I know people like, KJ, you said at 10:45. You got some $10 million on the ducats for me? I'll tell you what. Let's go to break, do Squid Games next. Then we'll talk Red Sox at 11. And then you don't want to miss, I got a hold of Ennis Cantor's, Ennis Freedom's sample citizen test and the answers that he may have given for him to pass. Hang out. It's KJ Late Night here on WEEI.